Yeah, this is a nice big spot here. This area I've marked is at an intersection of rivers. And it's a big, nice, wide area of river that we can turn into a drown farm. Now, what do we get from a drown farm? We get nautilus shells. We can get some copper, and what I like from a drown farm is tridents. And I'm probably fine in that department. I have 2 tridents already, one channeling, one riptide, but you might need some tridents. And plus, I just like them. I like to have some backups as well. God forbid I lose a trident, then I'm going to need another one, and it's going to be a bummer if I don't have one handy. So I'm going to make a box of tridents from this farm, as well as have tons of nautilus shells. We can make the conduits and have some pretty cool powers underwater, and also some copper. I came up here above the clouds because I need some ice, and so I did a little experimenting, and we can just go up high in this area, which was like windswept hills, which I guess it snows when you get high enough here, which is great. So it's not too far from base, and all we need to do is make kind of a platform here up high. We can have some water sources, then it'll turn into ice. And I'm going to need this for the farm, so I'm still just kind of gathering materials. Alright, we got a good amount of ice here. This shulker's filling up. We got a bunch in here, and don't be fooled, some of this is light blue glass. We need that for the farm as well. And I also made a little snowman here. I thought he might be able to help protect me if it's getting dark and I'm not paying attention, or I definitely don't want a creeper to blow up this ice farm. I also helped that by putting 2 layers thick of this powdered stuff. So it would snow and it would make 1 layer, and I scooped up some of that, and I doubled up the layers. A couple places where I got 3 layers, but 2 is all you need, and then nothing spawns on it. So kind of helped spawn-proof this farm. All right, I'm placing all the gathered materials here next to where we're building the farm. We've got a lot of items on our list. I'm using a mod called Lightmanica, and that helps with builds. You can create stuff in creative and save the schematic for it, and then it'll give you all sorts of details, like how many items of each thing you need. And if you want, you can then place the schematic in your survival world, and it'll show you where you need to place blocks. So for our materials list, we'll need a lot of obsidian, close to 200 or a little over 200 obsidian. A lot of soul sand, about 2,800 soul sand. Tinted glass, we're going to need about 1,000, a little over 1,000 tinted glass. Smooth stone, we're actually going to use smooth stone slabs, that's for the roof. And a little bit of regular stone. We need about almost 2,700 smooth stone slabs, and then less than 100 stone. We're also going to need close to 2,700 ice, which you saw already being collected, and then we're going to need a lot of kelp. A lot of kelp. We'll probably be reusing some of it because eventually we'll break it all, but we'll need that kelp to grow the water sources. We do that by having falling water, and then we grow the kelp underneath, and it'll create water sources. I made a quick trip to the base to pick up some scaffolding. You can see there's a couple things way up high, but we're going to need to build up high first. I think we'll start with the tinted glass, and we can build around that. We can put the ice inside of that. We can put the roof up, and then it's placing the falling water. Actually, let's place the soul sand first. The soul sand is going to be the base. We want the soul sand so that it bubbles up when we have the water in place, and it's just going to push all the drowned all the way up to the top super fast. So let's start by putting that floor in. We now have the task of placing a bunch of water underneath the ice in a diagonal pattern. And we'll have water flowing down. Then we're going to place a bunch of kelp inside that water to make water sources. The kelp goes all the way up to the ice. And then because of the diagonal pattern, it's going to fill in and make a solid cube, not a solid cube, a water volume cube underneath the ice. So we're just going to keep going back and forth, repeating like this. I can float in the water here and just kind of control my height underneath so that I can place the next water source. And we'll just go all the way down the line until we've basically covered the entire width and length of this farm. Okay, and so this is what's going to happen eventually is the more water we get in here, the more drown we're going to see. And the whole deal with the using the river is the drown spawn at a more frequent rate in the river water. And I think the presumption is that the developers wanted to see some drown appear in rivers, but there's such less volume of water normally in the rivers than the oceans that they had to increase the weight there for the probability of them to appear. But you could take advantage of that by just increasing the volume, as we're doing here, and then you get a disproportionate number of drown spawning here. This was something that I found in an ilmango video, SciCraft. They have a good video tutorial on this and why it works. Which I'll link in the description below. Okay, we have a bunch of water placed diagonally, flowing down. And I think maybe it's time to plant some kelp. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see if this fills up the area here. Let's grab as many stacks as we can fit in here right now, and you can see, oh, there's a drown right there. You can see like the bottom source here. There's one block where the bubbles are going. And we'll plant the kelp. We'll just start with one. It'll slowly start to grow, but that'll take a long, long time to get to the top. Get out of my way, dude. And yeah, so we can either continue extending the kelp with more kelp, or we can grow it with bone meal. So we've got a little bit of a bone meal production going on back at the base. So we'll do a little bit of both, I think, and see what works better. Now we have to start the rather daunting task of putting more kelp down and building this up. And I say daunting because it's going to require an awful lot of kelp. You can see as I place these down, though, and I have two diagonal kelp stalks next to each other, it's expanding the adjacent kelp, the adjacent water around it into sources and filling up that area. So you can see that happen as I'm going up. But we're going to have a lot to do here. I think I made this thing 65 blocks long by 43. So I'm going to need, I think I must have a string here of 65 long that I need to build up. We went up just about 128 blocks, a little bit less than that because we can AFK above that, and that was the whole point, is to AFK and only have spawns happen inside this volume of water. Oh, it's getting dark. You can see how just placing a few kelp up, like 10 kelp or so, it makes this whole area fill up. It's starting to take shape now. You can see I'm actually rather pleased that it's doing what I was hoping, which is kind of filling in the entire area, even though I just have these diagonal plants. So that's good. That's what I expected, but I wanted to see it before I believed it. And here's kind of the long shot view as we fly in. It looks like kind of the same progress from this side, but you can see in the back there the kelp has gotten pretty high. I've been working from both sides, so I'm going to continue on this end some. But once we get like a segment that's all the way to the top, it should fill in the entire thing as a cube, as a volume of water, and then we can break that kelp and reuse it somewhere else in the next section. And also you can see like it's getting harder and harder because of the all the drown that are spawning now. Once we get these consecutive kelp segments up, then it makes a much larger volume of water, and the drown are just kind of, I guess, kind of exponentially increasing their rate of spawn. And I'm finding myself swinging at the drown, but accidentally hitting the kelp, and then it destroys the kelp. I have to end up rebuilding that stock. We'll fly by for a quick progress report. Back here on the nether side, I've seen there's a couple drown that have gone through. They've managed to sneak through kind of the middle area in between the two portals. And I've found when I came on this side that there's a few mobs that can spawn here, a few piglins spawn on this flat surface here. So I'm just going to spawn proof this with some stairs. I guess it looks a little nicer too, but mostly just to prevent the spawns. And if we check the chests, there's not much going on. A few nautiluses, some of the kelp that I've lost in here. Lots of the rotten flesh that I don't care about. So if we fly back through here, of course we go through the top one. The bottom one is for the mobs to fall through. There's a few of them that get stuck there. And this is where we come out on this side. up in the clouds. If we hop down here, this will be the AFK area. You can see the ice is still there with the drown getting stuck underneath. Let's go to sleep real quick. I can see a little better drown getting stuck under that ice. So eventually we'll put the flowing water on top of that ice and break the ice, and that's how the farm's going to work. They're going to pop up and flow down towards the portals. So I think we're ready to do that. Let's pop down and grab a couple buckets of water so we can place it on top of the ice. Okay, if I can sneak through here. Cool. So here's all our ice platforms. And so it's actually important how wide these ice platforms are. I wanted them to be just long enough, 8 blocks long, so that the water will flow down to the far edge. And we're just going to make new water sources here. You just go every 2 blocks. That fills in the one in between, and we grab that one and place more going 2 out each time. But yeah, we'll take a look. We'll see just how it flows to the edge of each platform. So it's each surface, each layer here is 8 blocks wide or long, however you want to think of it. And the water will go to the edge, and then we place another water source on the next one. When we break the ice, we're going to turn those into water sources. So we don't want to use silk touch. We want to actually just break it. And you can see how it goes right to the edge here. We break it, so that'll be a water source. That ice will turn into a water source, and so the bubbles will continue up. But there won't be bubbles where the water's flowing. And in fact, we don't want the kelp to go there, which is the whole reason why we needed this ice. We want this top layer of water to flow. And we can't have any of the kelp interfere with that, or else it turns it into a water source and it doesn't flow anymore. So it's very important to get this top layer of flowing water, which was the whole reason we had to put the ice here. Uh-oh, I think I screwed up there. Now I have 2 rows of water sources. Can I just pick it up? I think it's probably gone the whole length here. So we want to get the right pick here. I'm going to make sure I just have, Fortune 3 in my hand. And we're going to break all this ice. So they'll be turning into water sources. It's really hard to see them. I don't know if this has to do with like one of the performance mods I have. There's a iris, I think, and it I don't know if it makes the blocks look different, but it's really hard to see the ice under this water. It's basically just can't even see it, except for right where the borders of the chunks are. Yeah, for some reason you can see them show up there, so maybe I can use that to my advantage a little bit. And of course, every time I break ice, like some drown will pop up, and I have to deal with him too. So it's going to get trickier as we go along. Okay, just finishing up. And there's one layer. We've done one layer of the ice. It got a little easier because they started to get swept into the portal, so that was nice. And I feel like if I go from this bottom layer first, maybe the drown that pop up, they'll just get swept into the portal, and it'll make it a little easier. And right now I'm looking to see, with the debug menu, I can see that that is a water source up against the wall there. And it shouldn't be. There's two rows there of water sources, which isn't what I want, but we'll see how that affects things. Yeah, and look at that. Once I pull them out all from under the ice, they all get swept into the portal. That's cool. So as I'm finishing up here with this this last couple layers, check out what a mess this becomes. It's quite chaotic. So sometimes the trident guys are just idle, and sometimes they're thrown at me. And when there's more than one, it becomes pretty rough. So I've pulled out the old bow here, which is it's pretty potent. Sometimes I can one-shot these guys, but it's hard to even find them in the crowd. Like, it's just crowd control right now. I may want to just fly off, get further than 128 blocks out, have them despawn, and come back to do a little work. It's kind of like a bouncy castle in here. I kind of want to play that House of Pain song, Jump Around. Jump up, and get down. So yeah, you can see that there is a problem going on with that extra water source. It's the flow of water is stopped there, and they just all get hung up. That's probably why I was seeing so much activity when I was trying to finish breaking all the ice there. Which means we'll have to destroy that extra water source. Yeah, and I think I'm going to have to put some ice under there again and get all the water flow going properly. So that's going to be kind of a pain now. Okay, that seems to be flowing properly again. Why don't we take a look from the AFK spot? Looking much better. I still have the second side to do here, and look how many have collected. This is going to be really interesting when I break the ice and let them free. Or I could fly away and come back and have them despawn. That might be the better idea. But it might be fun to see them pop up too. Alright, this is the last of the ice to break on the second side. So this will complete the farm here. And that's it. Let's go check it out. Whoa, look at that huge crowd just going into the portal. I think those were all the guys who were like trying to swim upstream to get me. This side, not nearly so active. So I think this, this flow like right here, this will be kind of the regular flow of this farm, but I mean, that's still pretty good. It's not always going to look like that mass that I was seeing before. That's just because I was holding them under the ice, or they were swimming towards me. This will be about the flow that we see regularly, which is, I don't know what it is. It's like 1 per second or something, right? But it should be pretty good rates. So let's go on to the nether side and see. On the nether side, I made a few changes because I discovered that they're mostly just dropping the rotten flesh and the nautilus. If I want the tridents, and maybe the copper too, I need to use my looting sword. So made this little looting kill zone area, kind of like we had with the gunpowder farm, with the creeper farm. And this works really well. So it's all kind of spawn proofed. I have slabs where I need slabs and stairs and whatnot. And I've got a little control here. Pull back like this. Things fall off. They fall down the chute. You can see this is where they fall. When the thing is open, then they just fall right down. We close it again, and they just fall to this little step where we can fit underneath and kill them with the looting sword. But they collect really quick. Down below in the collection area, we can see what's been looted already. So first I had it running a lot with just AFK, and there's a lot of rotten flesh, but you see 3 tridents there, There's over a stack of nautilus, another trident there. These middle ones are the main collection. Back in the overworld, during the process of building this farm, I managed to collect quite a few tridents as well. As you saw, they would bunch up a lot, and I had to fight them off just while I was building it. So we got another 6 tridents in here, which is pretty cool. And again, tons of nautilus. And I'm not sure how much copper I'm going to get out of this. I haven't been thinking about the copper a whole lot. I figured I would get it as a byproduct, and eventually I might want it, but not sure how much I'm getting yet. If we kind of take a final look at the full build, and this thing running, fully operational. You can see some drown appearing inside there. We'll just take a flyby around here. Beautiful scenery, productive farm. This was a good couple days' work. So that was a lot of fun. I was really looking forward to kind of working on this design. It's kind of an extension of something I saw ilmango build, and the idea occurred to me to use the soul sand and bubble them up, and make a huge area of water like this, and it came out pretty well. I'm really pleased with it. Anyways, thanks for watching this episode, and I hope to see you again next time.